Yesterday, former Senate Republican leader and presidential candidate Bob Dole was where he has been nearly every spring and summer Saturday.
It's a pleasure to see you.
He was at the World War II monument, greeting veterans arriving from the honor flights which bring the greatest generation from around the country to see their monument, opened 9 years ago when most of them were already in their 80s. This was the last honor flight of the season.
I got a bad knee. Joined the club.
Dole was in charge of raising the private funds and getting the World War II monument built. It is a place that captures time.
To talk to these men, some over 100, and still going strong, and still proud of their service. Whatever they did, whether they were in combat or someplace in the rear, they did what they were asked to do.
That's our Bob Dole's mission now, and it is a cross-generational effort.
Okay, here he goes.
Always a visitor to Walter Reed Hospital, in recent years, Dole spent a lot of time as a patient, rehabbing, talking.
This is a great group.
Getting to know the country's newest veterans. It took him back to 1945 on a hill in Italy where he nearly died and was permanently disabled by German machine gun fire. He remembers his years in the hospital. His long journey home then makes him worry about them now.
When they're there and they're surrounded by people who are caring for them, nurses, technicians, doctors, I've often wondered if they realize what happens when they roll out in their wheelchair and go home, if they understand in some cases this is forever. And it's a shock when you're 19, 20, 21. I remember when I came home, we were all sort of heroes, and more in World War II than now. But I didn't have a job, and in fact wasn't able to take a job until this political thing came along.
What would you tell these young vets it was that kept you persevering despite your depression and your doubts about where you would land?
Well, if you think you've got a problem, then just look around. I mean, I used to go to PT at Walter Reed, and some of the cases were, you can't describe the condition these young men and women in some cases were in.
At the age of 90, Bob Dole remains a believer in the soul of America. He says he doesn't know how much longer he'll be around, but he thinks veterans are in good hands.
Well, the great majority of Americans will drop everything to help a veteran. And that's what makes America so great. We don't forget those who fought for us.
Certainly, Bob Dole has not. Candy Crowley, CNN, Washington.